So here's how you acquire your development funding. You create a development production plan. This is where you need an accountant. The people who are funding want to know how they're going to get their money back. Even in development, like basically the idea is that you're going to develop something, you're going to sell or pre-sale that project to a distributor who will say, hey, based on this development, this looks like a winner, and I'm going to get behind this, and we're going to distribute this when you're done. And in fact, we're going to give you some money up front right now so you can go make it. And you're going to use some of that money to pay back the people who invested in your development process to begin with. That's the general idea. I'm generalizing immensely here, but that's the basic idea behind this. So you have to create a development and production plan. You have to prepare a production activity projection. When is development going to be done? When are we going into production? When will production be finished? When are we releasing the film, etc. A cash flow projection. How are we spending our money? We're hiring these people. They're going to cost this much. Then this will happen. We're going to sell this. We anticipate we'll get this much money back. That's going to go to pay this guy off, etc., etc., etc. You select your advisory teams. Your development team and your advisory team are two distinct teams. Your development team are the people who are in the boat with you rowing to develop this thing, right? Your advisory team are the people who you call up every now and then to say, hey, what would your advice be on this? Or we were thinking about that, or so forth. It's just like boards of directors at companies. So your advisory team might be a friend of yours who's a producer at some studio who's happy to give you some advice, right? They're not even necessarily paid, but they're just kind of giving you that advice to help you out and hopefully doing it out of the good of their hearts, or maybe they have some vested interest in it. But the best advisors are not compensated because that way they remain autonomous and independent and objective, right? If they're being compensated in any way, the value of their advice is compromised. I mean, that's just kind of obvious, I think. So you want to select those very carefully, and also because the value of your advisory team will mean something to the people giving you money. If I, for instance, have Don Hahn, big executive producer at Disney who produced The Lion King and Haunted Mansion, etc. If he's on my advisory team and people say, my God, you got Don Hahn on your advisory team, this is great. That's value that's added to the complexion of your team. That's a good thing, right? If it's a divisive personality, I won't name any, but there are some, you can imagine. Or let's say, hey, George Bush is on our advisory team. I go, oh, God, I know he's famous and all, but... So, yeah, you need to pick carefully. Formulating your investment strategy. This is literally how much are you asking people to give and what are they going to get in return and when are they going to get it. People are very concerned. We all are when you take out a CD at a bank. Okay, what's the rate of return on this and when does it mature and et cetera? You want to know, right? It's your money. You prepare the documentation, you make your investor presentations, and you acquire the funding. It sounds easy, right? It's so simple, and then cash just flows your way. But the investor presentation is quick, in and out. I once read a person talking about startups who said that any presentation to anybody, venture capitalist investors, should be 10 PowerPoint slides, right? No more, no less. And each PowerPoint slide corresponded to an aspect of basically your business plan. Your executive summary, that's one slide. Okay, your next slide is who is your team? Your next slide is what's your cash flow projection? Boom, 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 boom. And then you're done. And people generally, at least this person's hypothesis was, have the ability to maybe absorb at most 10 things in one sitting. And then we're kind of like, then all of a sudden you're like the teacher in a Charlie Brown cartoon. It just kind of like washes over you. So, and plus, if you can't summarize what you're doing in 10 slides, you got a problem. This one guy said basically, if you can't summarize your business in 10 slides, you don't have a business model, right? Or you don't have a clear sense of what the hell you're doing. And I think that may sound harsh, but I think it's actually true. So investor presentations are not long, drawn